David Lynch is one of the most revered and beloved directors of all time, and it's not hard to see why. He has some of the most critically acclaimed films ever and has always stayed true to himself in the ways he told his stories. He's my personal favorite director, so I decided to rewatch all of his films over the past couple of weeks and rank them on how much I enjoyed them. But before we get started though, please consider liking and subscribing. I always appreciate every single person who does. And also comment what your favorite David Lynch movie is and see where it falls. But without further ado, let's just hop right into it. This is David Lynch's movies ranked. Before I talk about this movie, I just want to say that this isn't a bad film. It's just an okay one that stands out like a sore thumb in Lynch's filmography. To start with the positives, I think Kyle MacLachlan is incredible as Paul Atreides, and he brings such an innocence to the film that only Kale can. This is also a really beautiful looking movie. The set pieces are fantastic as well, and it feels like we're diving right into like an illustration or like concept art, and it's so beautiful. There are a lot of quirks in this film as well that definitely weren't intended, like the weird animated sequences, and I think it makes it really charming and endearing in a way. Now, what I will say is that you can definitely tell David didn't have the final cut of this film because it feels like a whole hour was taken away from it, and it was. The story felt so rushed, especially between the second and third acts, and didn't give you much time to really connect with these characters and their relationships, which is unfortunate because with the releases of the newest Dune films, the character depth and the relationships are some of the best parts. David Lynch disowned this film and called it a gigantic sadness in his life, and it's not really hard to see why. He obviously loved the source material, and to see how his film was butchered and Frankenstein to make it into a tight 2 hours is sad to see. David Lynch's Dune definitely had potential to be something great, but without this, who knows if we would have had the other incredible movies he would have gone on to do. Now, this is when the movies get good. Like, really, really good. This is such a beautiful film, and one that from all the films I've watched feels like the least David Lynch, but it's every bit as good. This is based on the true story of Alvin Strait, who travelled cross-country on his lawnmower to see his brother who just suffered a stroke. It's such a captivating and beautiful odyssey. Seeing these kind-hearted people he would meet and the interactions he would have always left me smiling. In a normal story, there would be this outside conflict that would make travelling hard and, something outside of himself, but the main conflict that he faces are kind of his old memories. All of the sadness he carries with him through his life, but he just wants to do this one good thing and make it ends with his brother. One scene in particular I loved was in a bar with another older man, and they both trade these harrowing war stories. And it really dawned on me with how long these people live, how much sadness they've seen and overcome. And that final scene, oh my God, it brought me to tears. Harry Dean Stanton is so incredible. He has such a small role in this film, but God, the way he delivered it, the way he looks up at the stars is absolutely incredible. Now, to talk about the technical aspects of the film, it is absolutely gorgeous. The shots of the rural American landscape with the sun setting or the sun rising, it's stunning. This beauty is taken to another level as well with the incredible score. It's so simple, but it works so perfectly. Those few acoustic chords along with the strings makes for a breathtaking experience. This is such a beautifully told story and probably the most unique film out of Lynch's catalogue. Unique in the sense that it's not unique. This is one of Lynch's most surreal and intense films, and that's saying a lot. Most of this film is spent in this uncertainty of whether this is actually happening, who this is actually happening to, and whether these people are actually real. The storytelling is so interesting in this film because it feels like nothing is linear, and there are weirdly some sci-fi elements that make this all the more surreal. This is a really, really beautiful movie, and it's so, so well lit, as I go on to say for most of his films as well. A lot of this film is spent in darkness and crawling out of darkness, and matches perfectly for the mysterious nature of the story. I absolutely love Bill Pullman in this. He balances feelings of frustration and desperation so well. It's so held back in a way that's so captivating. The party scene, I feel, is a perfect example of this, and is one of my all-time favorite scenes. The way that the music completely fades out when talking to the mystery man, played incredibly by Robert Blake, is kind of terrifying. Patricia Arquette is also effortlessly good, in this film, and it felt like a match made in heaven for her and Lynch. Roberto Loggia is amazing in this as Mr. Eddie as well. And yeah, this is just such an interesting film, and one that I'm sure will continue to grow on me with further viewings. Lynch's second film is one that is a complete shift in style and tone, and is one of the most endearing stories ever put onto film. The Elephant Man is such a beautiful film and an incredible portrayal of not only this true story, but the way in which people can treat others like a commodity, like they're a thing. Anthony Hopkins is amazing in this, as he usually is. He brings such a calming presence to the film, and I just love the way he delivers and conveys his moral dilemmas. One of my favourite moments in the film is when his character, Frederick Treves, sets his eyes on John Merrick, known as the Elephant Man, for the first time, and you can just see this wave of emotions that is so captivating, and I really believe it to be one of the best pieces of acting ever. John Hurt's performance as John Merrick is such an endearing one. There are at least 3 times in this movie where his delivery alone made me tear up. From him talking about his mother to him begging for some humanity, it's such a perfect performance. Something else I really love about this film is the imagery. There are a lot of shots of his mother's eyes, and when a mirror is put up to him, elephants fade through the screen. He finds comfort in his mother's eyes where he can't find in his own. Now, I could go on and on about the story, but the filmmaking elements of this are unbelievable. The lighting, again, is absolutely incredible. There are a lot of shots in this film where it's just like this headshot with soft lighting, and it is stunning. This is just such an incredibly endearing and sad film that I think is an essential for anyone who wants to watch movies in any capacity. It's one of those films where it'll become one of your favorite movies ever straight away, and one that will leave you full of hope, sadness, and a whole mix of emotions. It's a really lovely film. This is such an insane movie that really shouldn't work, but it does, and I love it for that. To start with, this is visually probably his best film up to this point in his career. The whole film felt so dreamy and hazy, and it made the colors pop so much more because of it. It also helps that the film takes place in these beautiful desert landscapes that perfectly counteracted the insanity of the characters. The soundtrack is absolutely brilliant and perfect for a film like this with so much thrash metal and love ballads. And I think this film answers the age-old question: Nicolas Cage, good or bad?
Oh, I'm a cat. I'm a sexy cat.
And the answer to that is he's fucking brilliant, especially in this. It felt like David Lynch channeled all of Cage's quirks and imperfections and turned them all the way up, and it resulted in one of the most entertaining performances ever put onto film. Everything from the way he talks, the way he moves, hell, even the way he dances, and it's such a perfect match for a film like this. And Laura Dern is so special in this. Her performance, while it's still matching Cage's flamboyance and ridiculousness, it has an edge of vulnerability that touched my heart in all the right ways. I also want to shout out Grace Zabriskie, who, while she doesn't have a big role, used her screen time to genuinely scare the shit out of me. Also, Willem Dafoe's in this, and I didn't know that. He was excellent as always and sinister in all the right ways. This whole film just felt like it shouldn't work. Like, there are some truly insane decisions made in this film, but they all work so well that I couldn't help but be enamored by it the whole runtime. And this really is a testament to David Lynch's filmmaking abilities, because I doubt after a film like Blue Velvet, anyone expected him to make a film like this, and I think he's really courageous for it. Velvet is one of Lynch's most important films in that it was a return to a more weird and Lynchian style of filmmaking compared to Dune. And it is such an incredible film that is as close to perfect as you can get. The soundtrack was a lot more prominent in this film than any of his others, and I really liked it. Whether it was the actual Blue Velvet song or the incredibly shimmering and beautiful main theme, it always enveloped me. It's shot so beautifully as well, with the colors popping out of the screen. Everything from the framing to the lighting is really fantastic in this film and added so much to the themes of societal underbellies. And this was one of Lynch's favorite subjects to cover in his films, the dark, twisted underbelly of society. Seeing the innocence being stripped from characters like Jeffrey, played by Kyle MacLachlan, and Sandy, played by Laura Dern, is heartbreaking. These characters are really interesting to me as well. Specifically Jeffrey, in that while he's doing the right thing most of the time, he can be quite manipulative and takes advantage of people. Qualities that can be seen in the antagonist Frank Booth. The way some of his actions were portrayed in this film reminded me a lot of Agnes Varda's Le Bonheur, but a lot less sinister, of course. Aside from that though, everyone is incredible in this film. Kyle MacLachlan feels like the perfect David Lynch actor in his innocence and babyface. Laura Dern is fantastic, and that speech about Robbins was so beautiful. Dennis Hopper is genuinely terrifying in his chaos and sexual perversion, and I don't know how I've gone this long without talking about Isabella Rossellini's incredibly vulnerable performance and at times hard to watch performance. It's just insane. This is just such an incredibly moving and visceral film at times, and one that remains one of David Lynch's best works. I love this film, like, a lot, as you can tell by that guy over there. I've watched it like 3 or 4 times now, and the spirituality of it hadn't hit me until this most recent watch. David Lynch once said that this was his most spiritual film, and after rewatching it for this video, I can definitely see why. This doesn't feel like I'm watching a movie. It truly felt like I was watching someone's spirit flowing through this dark and twisted world. Jack Nance is absolutely perfect in this as Henry Spencer. His performance is almost Charlie Chaplin-esque in his movements and mannerisms, and it fits this strange world so perfectly. One of my favorite things about this film is its sound. It's basically its own character. The soundtrack mostly consists of beautiful and dark drone, and it's used to perfection to create this industrial and hellish atmosphere that Henry lives in. This is one of those movies that is most famous for how weird and avant-garde it is, and with that comes a lot of criticism that is weird for the sake of it, but I really think it's the opposite. Every single detail or weird thing that happens in this film has a purpose, whether it's being used for symbolism or to tell a simple story in an interesting and exciting way. It all feels very conscientious. Also, I don't really know how to classify this film because there are a lot of different elements of a lot of different genres. There are a lot of dramatic moments in the film that will make this a drama. The baby alone and the climatic sequence would absolutely make this a horror. And there are genuinely some of the funniest moments ever put onto film in this as well. So I guess you could call this kind of a drama-ority, something like that. In all seriousness though, there is a reason that this film has retained its cult classic status. It is a genuine masterpiece and one of the best stories about parenthood ever. I love this film to death, and it has a special place in my heart because watching this made me view film as a medium a different way. So please watch this if you haven't. I genuinely don't even know how to begin to talk about this one because it's so obviously a passion project that David poured his heart and soul into. It's one of the most surreal and nightmarish films ever, and is a pretty perfect end to Lynch's cinematic career. This was his first film to be shot on digital rather than film, and in classic David Lynch fashion, he used a consumer-grade handheld camera, and its low quality added so much to this hellish atmosphere of the film, and at times can create some really, really beautiful shots. Something I love about this way of filming is that when there's a long shot, the faces are kind of distorted in a way that you can barely make out specific features, but just enough to know who it is we're watching. It adds this uncanny valley feel to a movie that already feels like that. This is a really divisive film in his catalogue, and it isn't really hard to see why. It feels like he's extended one of his avant-garde short films into a feature-length movie, and I don't think that's what people were expecting at the time. I absolutely loved the constant wondering of if any of what we're watching is truly happening, or if it's part of the film. They weave between these realities so well that they almost blend together at points. And a lot of that can be attributed to one of the best performances of the 21st century with Laura Dern. Holy shit, man. Her performance is so vulnerable, and as the movie wears on, it gets damn near animalistic as she goes down this spiral. Her facial expressions are incredible here, especially in that famous jump scare that I won't spoil for you because Jesus Christ, what an image. This is truly a one-of-a-kind film where it feels like we're constantly weaving in and out of consciousness and living through this nightmare. It's an absolute masterpiece and an incredible way to end his filmography. Also, I want to say that from Eraserhead onwards, 5 stars, literally, legit 5 stars for me. Just, he's such a good filmmaker. I I can't put into words the feelings that I felt during this film. While I already knew the story of Twin Peaks and I'd seen this before, I wasn't quite prepared for it to leave me like it did. This was one of the most devastating and tormenting films I've ever watched. I guess to start with, the atmosphere is palpable in this film. I was already obsessed with the world of Twin Peaks, but this one-of-a-kind atmosphere makes me love it even more. The atmosphere is in part due to Angelo Badalamenti's iconic score, which I believe to be the best film or TV soundtrack of all time. But it's not only that, it's the drone used in this film that builds this sense of imminent danger and despair. Along with that, it's also so beautiful. And at this point in his career, I think David Lynch had perfected everything that can be with filmmaking. The lighting, the framing, and the unique camera movements are a sight to behold and make this already unique story feel all the more special. The way the story is told is so interesting as well. This felt like a true return to absurdism for Lynch. Nothing that he's done after Eraserhead ever captured the absurdity and avant-garde feel of that film until Fire Walk with Me. And you could definitely tell how much he missed it. To talk about the characters, Laura Palmer is quite obviously one of the most interesting and well-written characters of all time. Even with the little screen time she had in the show, she felt omnipresent. This is an all-time great performance. It's so devastating and gut-wrenching that I really wonder how she just goes about her day after shooting something like the final sequence. Ray Wise's performance as Leland Palmer is incredible as well, and just everyone around Cheryl was absolutely amazing. David Lynch truly captured something special with Twin Peaks, and with its original run culminating into one of the greatest films of all time, feels like justice for how Lynch's story was treated heading to the second season of the show. This is just such a special film and one that will definitely ruin your day. I don't suggest watching this at 8 o'clock in the morning. Just about starts the day. But now for my number one. I mean, yeah, it's literally perfect. I love this movie so much, and it's no surprise that this is Lynch's most critically acclaimed, because it's just that good. This is such a beautiful looking movie, with the dreamlike haze surrounding the setting of Hollywood. It just feels right. And the deep blue in the theater scene is so incredible and adds so much to not only the look, but the feeling that you get from it. I found that theater scene in particular on this viewing to be so beautiful. The singing was just so gorgeous that I genuinely almost cried. I really love how David Lynch tells the story. Once again, throughout this film, we really don't know if this is truly happening because of that diner scene in the beginning, and with the ending, there are so many more questions and reasons to look up Mulholland Drive ending explained, but don't do that, please. I did that. Make your own judgments of what happened. Let yourself get lost in this incredible story. Naomi Watts puts forward what I believe to be the single greatest acting performance of all time, and I can't think of anyone that really comes close. It just feels so raw, and you can feel every emotion she does. You feel her happiness, curiosity, sadness, and frustration, and it becomes this whirlwind of emotion that would never fail to captivate me. And Laura Harring plays off of her so well in this, with her aloof performance contrasting her perfectly. And the way that she says silencio in this film is genuinely skin crawling. Like, I watched it at like the middle of the night and it just made my skin crawl. There's also a moment with her that I absolutely love, where someone is looking into the house and she's in the frame just a little bit and she tries to escape the line of sight. It just felt so real and kind of visceral, and it really shows Lynch's ability to really display something so simple in the most interesting way possible. Justin Theroux is also really good in this, and is part of one of my favorite scenes in the whole film. He's a director casting for this lead actress, and in this scene he's being pressured into choosing a specific one, presumably by the mafia. This scene is so quintessentially David Lynch, and it toes the line of absurdity and genuinely terrifying so perfectly. Speaking of absurdity, this is one of Lynch's funniest. Some of the humor is so weird and outlandish, but all the jokes and uncomfortable moments landed really well, considering the dark nature of the story. It really feels like this was David Lynch at the peak of his powers. This film had everything from beautiful shots, captivating story, unique storytelling, and an incredible soundtrack, and some genuinely perfect performances. And because of all of that, all of the story, everything, it falls quite comfortably at the number one spot for me, and is genuinely a personal favorite film of all time for me. It's in my Letterboxd top 4. I believe it was my first David Lynch film I watched, and I fell in love with the style. I fell in love with the darkness and the absurdity and the mystery of it. I fell in love with it just head over heels. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, thank you David Lynch for Mulholland Drive. What a special director, man. Going through these films made me realize just how much diversity is in his catalogue. I mean, with his first 5 films, he goes from avant-garde black and white drama, horror comedy in Eraserhead, to one of the most endearing and sad films ever in Elephant Man, to a sci-fi epic in Dune, to a sexual crime thriller in Blue Velvet, and then to an over-the-top eccentric film like Wild at Heart. I mean, there was no telling what he was going to do next, and that is what made him special. Rest in peace, David Lynch. You were really one of a kind. And that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really, really loved making this and just rewatching all of his films. He really is an all-time great and probably my favorite director of all time. But yeah, thank you guys for watching so much. Please consider liking, subscribing, commenting, whatever you feel. And yeah, that's about it. See ya.